Welcome back. Let's continue playing. It's the FIDE Social Chess Day, and we're able to play this thanks to collaboration between the International Chess Federation and Lichess, the world's best free software chess server. Um, there are random prizes being awarded. Those who were here yesterday may have seen me participate early in this event. You can play as many games as you have time for. So, good luck to everyone playing. Let's do our best and see how we do. I do appreciate that this event is played with an increment. In some way, it's validating, at least to my mind, that playing chess with an increment does have value. Not just in my mind, but also that there's a wider appreciation for being able to play time controls where you don't just randomly hang pieces to forks. I say, after having randomly hung a piece to a fork. Alright. I'm having too much fun already, and we just started. Regardless, we'll do our best. I need to do better already. There was recently announced, I think by Asios, on Lichess community blogs. There's a reference to a new tool for graphing tournament performance of participants. And so it'll be fun to run that on this particular event, where I got off to an early lead, and then withdrew because it got late. And now I'm rejoining, and we can see if I have a resurgence in the standings, or perhaps my withdrawal was not premature after all. Alright, so knights can be tricky pieces to work with and to work against. I have to watch out for forks. In blitz games, knights can be quite dangerous. Oh, maybe I should just take this pawn now that two pawns are hanging. I don't know. Maybe I should sidestep this fork. Opponent's probably intending rook c4 anyway, else why would they have moved as they did? But okay. I'll move my queen, sure. And now there's no king, queen, rook, royal fork going on here. So let me activate both my knight and my bishop. The only piece defending this rook is this knight. The opponent starts making some threats against my king. I'm not alarmed, but I am concerned. It's reasonable to be concerned. Right, so I'll put my rook on a half-open file and trust that it can help defend my king as needed. Am I missing something? Alright, I'm threatening to exchange queens with queen d4. Okay, we exchange queens with queen d4 and have reached a favorable pawn-up endgame. I've seen much worse than this. I've seen better, sure, but I'm happy to take this. So if pawn f5, I jump my knight to g5. In the event of this saner line of play, I still have play here. That's too risky. I'm going to hit this twice. My opponent offers a draw. Well, it's your move. I'll think about it. Not too hard. Sure, they did get to move first this game, but I've got pieces attacking their pieces. We move on to the next game. I don't know why they conceded immediately. Maybe they thought the knight on d5 was hanging, but their rook was supporting that square. I didn't see a decisive tactic, but I think I had good chances there. I don't think I would have resigned in that position. So, again, I've been reading After Virtue, and it talks about Aristotelian ethics. And virtue is a state of character, good luck, concerned with choice, lying in a mean. This says me, the person with this cute cat, bongo cat avatar, shown on the live stream. It's like, okay, how seriously are we going to take me, given that I put a virtual avatar there, as opposed to like, here's my face, here's my residence. I'm sure people would love to know all this sort of stuff. But I'd rather that my ideas were valued rather than what I look like. I think it's crazy how much information everybody volunteers on a regular basis. Even though this is in person how things work, the internet's a different beast. So I think it's, yeah, I don't know that it's to everybody's benefit that information be overshared constantly. I think it's more interesting to focus on the game than it is to try to focus on the people. Unless, well, yeah, I don't know what it is about the people you'd want to focus on. Alright, so I got them to play pawn e6, which was kind of my goal there. So let's go back and make... Like, this knight can't even jump anywhere useful, but it does look scary. Can I get them to play pawn e5 next? If they play this, it's blocking their bishop. So, yep, my Jedi mind powers are working. Yay me. Of course I mean that as a joke, and not literally espousing that Jedi mind tricks are a real thing. But even so, it's a funny joke. So, I've tricked my opponent into blocking not one, but two of their bishops with the same pawn. They might contend that, oh, they were just going to play there anyway. And I would ask, really? Was it your plan the entire time to make this a target in the center of the board that is relatively easy to attack and relatively difficult to defend? Was that really the plan the entire time? I'm not feeling like exchanging bishop for knight here, of course. Nor am I playing bishop h6 because this bishop retreats. This is offsides. There'd have to be a tactical benefit to my playing such a thing for me to do it. And currently there's no such benefit, so... Surprisingly, rook d1... Oh wait, I thought it dropped a pawn. It does not. Yeah, no, this doesn't drop a pawn because I could recapture on d1 with the queen. That's a pin. That is a pin. I'm not alarmed. Alright, so I can kick the b knight. So, yeah, eventually I'll find some way to get my bishop back into play here. Maybe I exchange rooks and jump the knight back. No, I would drop this. I have to play b4 first, which gets the e4 square back. Having reclaimed the square, we'll exchange this next for tactical reasons. And then I debate taking the knight, but I don't want it. So let's pull back, covering a number of other squares. Our opponent could exchange bishop for knight at their will. But they don't will that. That's not what they desire. Well, I stand corrected. I don't know why they wanted that. But they played it voluntarily. I could... taking the knight's not profitable. So the knight looks beautiful on d4. Can I turn off Zen mode? Sure. I guess so. Yeah, that could make this more fun. I forgot I usually play with that on. But for the sake of the social event, it probably makes sense to keep it off. Alright, so I could take this and win a pawn and get my knight trapped. That could be fun. My opponent's winning a pawn here. Okay. That's unfortunate. Alright, let's try this. This looks tricky. So I can exchange on f6, then play knight d5, and cut my losses. So 3 hours remaining in the FIDE Social Chess Day Marathon. This is a 24-hour slog. I started playing yesterday on this tournament, continuing today. I could play knight d5 first, actually. I still have some ability to calculate. So this knight is pinned. It ain't going nowhere. Then I could take this pawn back. And they could take, but then I get the rook. So they're not... I don't think they're going to do that. Maybe there's some reason to do it. Otherwise, they probably just move the rook and then tactics start happening here. My bishop is blocked by my center pawn. I was kind of teasing my opponent earlier for having blocked their own bishop. Well, things go both ways. This knight on d4 actually is kind of a monster. But on a closed position, knights can be kind of nice. So I'm just going to keep my knight planted on d5. We both have a blocked bishop. And maybe I'll find some trick here somewhere, now that my bishop doesn't have to protect the pawn anymore. I could bring the rook to the open file, but then they move their king. Okay, I think I know what I want to do. First, I would like to displace the rook. Then once it has been displaced, f7 is a bit looser. So I'd like to play c4, bishop f1, bishop takes c4, and threat stuff over there. Looks like I'm not getting what I want. Okay. What's plan B? Oh, if I get the D file, we'll just use the D file. Why not? That's a nice file. Okay. Where's the fireworks? There's got to be fireworks somewhere around here. Um, all right, we'll exchange to take off the bishop. And this looks kind of fun. I'd rather be on my side of this, just given it seems tricky to defend. There probably is a defense somewhere. I just like it's more fun to be the one posing the challenges than defending against them. Knight c6 looks possible. Not clear where the knight goes after that, but it's a start. But to that, I'm thinking bishop f1, rook a1, and I might win the a pawn or force other concessions. Actually, bishop d7 is kind of interesting. Yeah. So plant the rook up here. Opponent has dealt with the back rank mate idea. Then we'll just drop back as if nothing had happened. Our opponent might offer... No, they can't... There's no way to offer a queen exchange here. Just bring up the queen. It looks threatening. I don't know if it actually is threatening anything. No. I can drop back the queen. So I could play bishop f1. I have to watch wherever the knight can go, because knights are scary pieces. I've lost several games the same tournament to knight forks and other such fun things that only happen in endgames. Or primarily happen in endgames. Let's look at that. Okay. This might be overput pressing. I'm not sure. Keep the bishop on the top side of the board. I missed a pin. I missed a game-deciding pin. I didn't miss this, though. This is pretty straightforward. Pre-moves aren't going to save you here. I've seen Searching for Bobby Fischer. Alright, next for game. I know that one. Surely, yeah, if I just pinned the knight, that would have been far easier. But I won the game regardless. I am curious how that could have gone. Oh, we're seeing a bishop and knight checkmate on table 1. The FIDE master should have no problem executing that mate. So that'll be fun. Good luck. Ooh, at Chess Club, players were recently talking about this opening. Not this knight f3 nonsense, mind you, but just this opening in general. Are they going to castle here? Not yet. Okay, I can support my center. It is far up the board, but I think it's fine. How do I make further progress? This is one way. Maybe there's a better way. Alright, they stopped me from playing d4. Or from easily playing it. Yeah, g6 doesn't ruin my position. At least I don't think it does. And there's the fianchetto. I'm gonna trick or get them to play a4. That's not a4. Alright, bishop exchange is likely coming. It doesn't fundamentally change anything because both bishops got exchanged. My opponent threatens a fork. I could pin the other knight. I have a decision to make here. Wait, the other knight has nowhere to go. Okay, I'm gonna attack this knight then. No, I disabled Zen mode, but there's another setting to display ratings too. I don't have that on. Not super interested in seeing that right now. Um, hmm. Huh. I thought my position was good. I'm having second thoughts. Let's take the center. I could push d3. That's not so decisive. Oh wait, let's throw... Nah. Yeah, okay, we'll do this. This is gonna be sad. Yep. Um... Do I push f5 here? Maybe. Yeah, it looks interesting enough. Let's try it. So the h-pawn is hanging. Okay. If I take it, I get forked here. Maybe that's fine. Um... I could just play knight f5. Yeah, this clogs up that diagonal. Okay, that's incredible. Um, sure. Okay. I think I've made progress these last few moves. It looks like progress to me. Um, if I take that rook takes, it's a bit tricky. If I don't take that, this position still isn't so easy. All right, we'll put the rook over here. That can decide whether or not to open the file later. I guess it's decision time. Let's do it. There's a check. Activate the pieces. Something, something, passive pieces, gerbs defeat, something. All right. Well, I'm threatening the bishop now. Threatening the rook now. All right, thanks for a game. If you have money, chess.com is better. Better than what? I don't know. Good luck. Oh, these games aren't even rated? In the upper left corner, to me, it looks like it's saying rated, but I don't have ratings showing, so I don't actually know. Actually, there was a plus minus, well, after some games and yesterday, I saw there was a plus or minus rating adjustment next to the clock. Even though I don't think I could actually see the player ratings, I think I saw the adjustments. Which, in retrospect, I would not have expected to see because I have ratings concealed. So what's the Oh, I have ratings concealed while playing as my setting. So once the game concludes, I actually do see the ratings. I forgot that was a setting maybe introduced a year ago. I forget. There's too much to remember. So, I guess at my own peril, I'll broach the topic. This'll be something. So, yeah, of that chess master, I did watch every interview that I could, minus some military related interviews, but on YouTube there are some interviews that were done with Sam Sloan in them. Um, he's about the sort of character from like those interviews that I thought he might be. And I don't know how to interface with such a person. It's a learning experience, I'm sure. Um, I can somewhat understand how he had challenges um, with political debate. I don't know whether he prepared for such debates. I'm somewhat curious, honestly. Because, like, in political debate, you're accustomed to seeing people not necessarily follow the rules to the letter, but he seemed to follow the debate protocol um, exactly as he was asked to. And things didn't always necessarily go his way in said debate. Um, I guess his style of talking with folks and interfacing um, is well suited to like the TV interviews that he used to perform or was subject in. So that was interesting. Like as he's being interviewed, he stays on topic for the most part. Um, he's great at communicating messages out. He's clearly thought deeply about things that he's speaking about. Um, and it is actually of some interest, despite like what Sun Tzu says in The Art of War, a book that I believe Sam Sloan publishes through Ishii Press. Um, I'd be surprised if he wasn't reprinting it, but anyway, Sun Tzu suggests that all war requires deception, but now, like, Sloan says his piece the way he means it. There's no political theatrics or deception of any kind there. He always gets directly to the point. I'm not sure this would draw in viewers. I'm also not sure that Lee Chess would welcome it. Hey, they might dock my streamer rating or something and take me off the front page. Who knows? Oh no, wouldn't that be terrible? Um, it would be kind of sad. But I'm not exactly bringing in the numbers I used to bring in either. It's hard to compete with chess.com. It's easier to compete on some platform like YouTube, where it's more democratic. A lot of people get a voice. Lots of voices are extremely noisy. Right, so I plug the F file because this is just it's perpetually going to be a problem. This I did not think would happen. I might actually get to like saddle them with an isolated E pawn or D pawn or something like that. They walked right into this pin, shutting down their bishop, knight, rook, etc. This is tactically is just not that great. Sure, they can break the pin, but that takes a turn. With that turn, I can irrevocably change the pawn structure. Right, first, no. We got to do this right. Yeah, no, I think that is the right way to do it, though. Yeah, so I'm going to avoid getting an isolated E-pawn myself. Probably they'll play C-pawn takes. They could play E-pawn takes. And then here I break this pin. And whether they play D4 or they don't play D4, either way I have active play here. Yeah. Saying things like about what Magnus Carlsen said this or Hans Niemann did what, like that would do more for a viewer count. Like saying things that are just overtly not true would help with viewer counts. Um, I am somewhat curious, like, is anybody on the tournament page and anybody on the Leechus front page could click through to see what I'm up to. But I'm also half tempted just to go play like Mahjong IRL, which could be kind of fun. But it is FIDE Social Chess Day, so should keep up this for a bit longer. But yeah, I might ultimately just quit here and have other things to do on my day. Ah, you were just sitting on Leechus, or you must have been playing games or something. This is something like Shogi Dad and No Joke and other folks would do. Is just ask, how did you find this? To everybody who joins. It's like uh, half of the reason people do that is to get the question answered. The other half is just to get engagement from folks who otherwise probably aren't going to say a whole ton. Not you, but a lot of viewers probably wouldn't just walk right in and start speaking their mind right away. So it's a device to get people engaged in conversation. Okay, this is tricky. Thought this would be tricky. I think I still want to yeah. Our opponent has a fragile pawn structure. Therefore, exchanging pieces is not bad. Might not be good, but it's not bad. So I'll take this file, they take that file. Yeah. I guess the reality is like chess.com has a monopoly, not in the legal sense, but in the sense that like chess.com somehow make sure that its viewers, um, I don't know, like its streamers collaborate together in some extent. Everybody knows who the top people are, and those top people, these celebrities, are the ones that repeatedly get hosted, rated, and so forth. Lichess sometimes does get high profile people streaming, and they have a smaller community and they all rate each other and stuff. Um, there isn't much of a sense of building a community through non-selectively um, promoting folks. Promotion is selective and strategic in ways that benefit each promoter as they do it, as opposed to just like, hey, let's go, something like Carl Sagan 42 might do, where he intentionally raids people that don't have large viewer counts. That's quite the opposite of the norm. Oh shit. I think I have to play knight b6 or knight f4 here. Knight b6 is terrible. Knight f6 might be playable. Nah, it's not. Not even close. Knight f4, knight takes e5. Knight takes knight, bishop takes knight, knight takes, pawn takes. Yeah, it's no good. I have to drop back. There's no choice here. I've misplayed this. I needed to play bishop g4 earlier. Now I'm stuck playing passively. My opponent has left the game. I could claim victory in 40 seconds. We had the same thing happen yesterday. That shouldn't happen. Like, it's nuts to me that, especially in a rated game, I mean, here prizes are randomly distributed, but still there are ratings at stake. So a player temporarily losing their internet connection, that could damage the rating pool for everybody. It's like, what are we doing? I do see knight g5. I think I can stop it. So there's a double attack on h7. And then, I'm sorry, a double attack on e5, and soon queen h4 is possible, like play g6. But we didn't end up there. I need to get my queen out of these tactics. Their knight's on a strange square. Alright. I need to play some defense here. I can't just send the queen off munching pawns. Unfortunately, until I play a6, I can't move this rook on the a file. Alright, there's a6. Let's defend the center. Have they read an endgame book? If so, can I see like what book they read that recommends this kind of move? I mean, I guess this isn't strictly an endgame, but this is something I do in shogi all the time and it never works. So if there's some way to make it work, I'd be glad to know. If there's not, well, in the present circumstance, that favors me too. Um, all right, let's just put the knight here, because that's a beautiful square for a knight. And then watch tactics crop up everywhere here. That looks fun. Yeah, okay. I know this is subtle, but if it works, it works. Okay. They're threatening knight d6. I should maybe not immediately give up on looking for tactics. Um, oh, speaking of, all right, fine. I gave a pawn. Yeah, this is why I wanted to, like, maybe go about my day playing other games. I'm not that good at chess. I'm okay, but there's a lot of room for improvement. This looks safe-ish. If they play h4, I've got rook h8. If they play c4, I don't know. We'll figure something out. It would be nice to play queen e5, g4 and stuff, but it's not so easy to arrange. Is rook c5 happening soon? Hmm. We stop rook c5 and knight c5. Okay. This looks fun. I expect the opponent will play f3 without deeply looking at it. Problem is, f3 traps the queen. Yes, they have to play actively like this. I too can play some active moves. Yeah, I'm not good at this game. I thought I had something here. Thought I could just will tactics into existence. I can't play queen f5 or even f5 here. Nor rook e6. Hashtag this is fine. I mean, yeah, now knight d6 is possible, but it walks square into a fork. Um, now I could play queen f5. What a mess. Alright, so I have an active king. Unfortunately, my active king cannot invade their position. So that's a huge problem. On the bright side, they can't easily capture my f-pawn. So the fact that I've ensnared their king might be enough to draw this, if I'm lucky. It's interesting. I can't play king f4. King f4 would be nice, but I can't do it here. So instead we'll try to get rook d2 in. King g3 probably quashes everything, but we'll try. Didn't see that. Oh, now they just play b4. That's not b4. Oh. Okay, yeah, they don't have to play b4. So I'm in time yeah, okay. I'll just concede that. Nicely done. I wonder, well, I don't know. Players that have high ratings tend to move quickly. It's not perfect 1-to-1 there. But some players can be quite strong despite moving slowly. But no, that opponent did move quickly. I think, yeah, it's perhaps the norm on this site that players tend to move quickly in general. And some of them just happen to play good moves. And I'm probably in a very small minority of players that move slower and also play good moves. Alright, so that's a way to play an opening. I'm not so familiar with this one. So if the goal was to confuse me, well done. You succeeded at confusing me. If there are other goals, I would like to know what they are. So, okay. If I play queen e7, I get the center, right? Do I want to do that? Sure. There's no harm in this as far as I can see. Okay, you're gonna castle queenside? Okay. Now what? I control more of this side of the board than you do. Okay. I'm gonna get the bishop pair. Probably. Which has backfired several times this tournament, but doesn't have to backfire. Okay. Bishop has been removed. I put the rook on the half-open file. and avoid pushing these pawns needlessly and needlessly putting my king at risk. I'll grab a pawn. There we go. Not sure where their bishop's going. I have an idea. Yeah, okay, so there's no harm in taking this file, right? So, I have a file they cannot contest. And now I'll move the knight in, try to collect the other bishop, and then try to open the position once I have all the bishops. Although I might take on b4 if tactically it works out. I'm expecting that bishop takes pawn just gets the bishop trapped for no benefit. But I don't even have to trap it, I could just take the g-pawn. Okay, so if I take this, then take that, that's not worth it. Yeah, let's do this directly. Okay. D-pawn is loose if I push the C-pawn. Right, so we block this advancement, further claiming the E1 square. Next, I pin this pawn. I could take this, but I don't want it just yet. Incidentally, I was hanging a pawn here because I'm not paying attention. Let's not do that. Although maybe it wasn't hanging, like if rook takes and there's this discover check idea, maybe it works out. Yeah, knights are scary, sure. There's no check there, so let's just go up once more. Maybe I can collect the B pawn instead. Or double the rooks, yeah, and collect the G pawn if I can't get the B pawn. Also, I guess I have this fork of rook and, well, the knight's not hanging just yet. But if they proactively defend this, then I've got a fork here. I'm surprised there's not a game-winning tactic. This looks like the sort of position that there'd usually be... Oh, wait, the knight's trapped. No, not quite. Bishop E1's interesting. Let's try that. So bishop f2 lands next, but let's get the rook on a dangerous or a loose square first. And then I could play bishop f2. It looks strong. I'm somewhat concerned they're going to sack. Or that's not a sack. That pawn's hanging. There be tactics here. Well, the pawn hanging isn't such a big deal, in fact. It's just a pawn. Go ahead. take your pawn. I guess they could play rook c1 instead. Okay. That's a knight. We can take that whenever. That's not going anywhere. Likewise, we can take this rook whenever. Check. Okay. Do I take the knight? Do I want it yet? Let's try to pin the rook first. If they block this, then I can go back and threaten other tactics. All right, now we'll take the knight. And the pawn. And not hang my rook. Thanks for game. I got no rating points from that game. Or at least the opponent didn't lose any. I didn't look at my own rating change. But we can guess based on the moves of the game. Like, I don't think I gained a ton. Clever streamer is on table 1. All right, we're going to play the king pawn opening against Borg 234. Why are we playing the king pawn opening? I don't know. Oh, that's fun. So I've got to play my favorite opening structure without making any compromises here. This is pretty nice. C6 is forced. And then this knight's offsides. Yeah, okay. I'm not afraid of that. In fact, I can take that. Do I want it? The bishop retreats if I get greedy. Fine, I'll go back. Whatever. Where's the knight going? I offer a knight trade? Like, what are you going to do? Play d5 to protect it? I think not. Yeah, the knight's moving again. But these pieces are getting quite a workout. Should I take the free pawn? Do I want it that bad? I'd lose my castling rights. My castling rights are worth a pawn. So yeah, let's just castle. And then back we go. Pawn's still hanging. Now I'm protecting my e-pawn twice. This is a mistake. I should have just taken the e-pawn and then knight takes e5 a second time. There's no reason for me to do this. All right, we'll push here. So now I might get bishop a3 in and have some other way to... Oh, never mind. Unprovoked exchange. Maybe they were concerned that I might actually play g4. That wasn't on the top of my candidate moves list, but it was there. I'm not going to spend time every single turn evaluating it. If there's a low chance of success, we're not going to focus on that every turn. All right, let's go. Exchange, and we exchange. I don't know if I want to initiate this. I could play bishop c4. So this is a nice endgame. Is it winning? No. It's nice. Um, let's try this. Okay, I'm not going to win the f-pawn, so let's try to attack the e-pawn instead. I see my opponent and I have opinions that strongly differ about how good my position is. So this looks like it's hanging the pawn. Maybe it is actually hanging it, and I'm just not calculating it right. Either way, now I defend it. So the opponent might evaluate that this is a closed position, but my bishop is outside my pawn chain. That's what matters here. We offer a draw. I'm not interested. Yeah, it's scary, but I'm not. We're here to play. Let's hit the f-pawn. Also, the c-pawn is somewhat loose. Okay. Evict the knight. Tricky business. All right, going to close this file, but there are tactics everywhere. Okay, prevent queen g5. There are tactics everywhere. Um, that was probably a mouse slip. Borg's rook has been assimilated. I wonder how long their next move might take. In rated games, I don't allow takebacks. Thanks for the game. 21.95. Maybe I have the energy to go for another half hour before we call it. Maybe. Or maybe I just play till I lose again. We are, well, for a second there, I was at 1337, which is a pretty lucky rank number. So there are 3 people streaming this event. We obviously all can't have like 5,000 viewers apiece. That'd be too much for any of us. But yeah, it'd be nice to have events where streamers could collaborate more effectively somehow. I'm not sure what kind of event format would encourage collaboration, but surely it's, I don't know, at some point it's got to be the next big wave. Getting people to cooperate is, or coordinate rather, is a challenge. Alright, I'll defend this knight because I don't feel like doubling my pawns. Maybe I do feel like doubling them. Maybe I should have played c5. I don't know. Somebody knows this opening, and that somebody ain't me. Probably all my viewers know this, and I just don't. Could have sworn I've seen this position before. That c5 is a good idea. I could be making that up. I'm gonna get a backward pawn now, no matter how I play this. This is why I should study how pawn structures work. Well, no. I don't have to have a center. There is one way to play this that does not leave me saddled with a backward pawn. That's that if all the pawns get exchanged, I don't have a center pawn. Like if B takes, D takes, I have a side pawn now. I have no center. I'm just pushing on this flank. Is that good? I don't know. Probably not. But I couldn't find anything better. This pawn is such a liability. Okay, where's the tactical shot that I missed here? Where's the knockout blow that just devastates my entire situation? Yeah, I saw rook b8, but I didn't think it was... I didn't see the move to knock me out after that. It looks like I'm just barely hanging on. If pawn a5, knight b6 looks amazing. On the other hand, if somehow I could get a promoted pawn out of this, that'd be kind of special too. A6 makes zero sense, at least in my mind. Yep, so I've now collected the edge pawn, and I've got 3 protected passed pawns. I don't like, if this makes sense to you, more power to you, because it sure as heck doesn't make sense to me. The only way this seems to make sense to me is if, like, somehow I had set a trap, my opponent fell into it. That's the sense I get out of this. If I push b5 and then knight moves, and if I take this, and if I push c6, I'm not dropping material. It's not comfortable, but, like, I could do a lot worse. Wait, can I just play a4, a5? My opponent's gonna push somewhere else. There will be tactics, but this is thematically the right thing to do. Whether the tactics support it is a different matter. Again, we have a brief disconnection. Again, I'm awarded a chance to win the game in like 30 seconds if my opponent doesn't reconnect. Internet connections could be intermittent for just like a couple minutes and the player comes back and they still have most of their time remaining. Like, it's unbelievable to me that we see that warning so early. But maybe there's something I can do about it. Maybe I can improve that time, that AFK threshold, so it doesn't strike so many people so easily. Because I have seen numerous complaints about it. Just that it's like hypersensitive, and it doesn't need to be. You're not saving that much time by allowing a player to claim victory like so many seconds faster. Wait a second. Wait a second. The queen can't defend the knight here. That's a clean piece. I don't know what you do about that. Yeah, still a clean knight. Alright. So I'm up a rook. Thanks for the game. Maybe, so yeah, I could play for a half hour, or when I lose, or when I break into the top 1,000 again. These could all be end conditions. The only way I can lure transport back here to say anything of interest is if I mention Sam Sloan again. But what should I say? Like, I've seen his interviews. His political positions seem normal. Whether or not I happen to disagree or disagree, that's whatever my personal set of beliefs are. But, um, like, I don't see anything horribly wrong. Um, his beliefs are consistent. Um, it's quite simple to follow what those beliefs are. Oh, hey, look. This is a fun game. Yeah. Maybe my opponent will find a way out of this. Dazzle me. Impress me, sir. So I'm just going to sack on h3 and bring the knight up and checkmate them. That's the plan. What could they do to stop it? Does this... It stops knight g4. Does it stop the plan completely? I don't know. Does allow me to pit this bishop here. Every exchange makes an endgame simpler, so... Not quite feeling bishop c5 for some reason here. I think I can do better. Alright, so I can collect a pawn. Seems fine by me. That's a pawn. So now I'm up a full bishop, not just a bishop for a pawn. Hmm. Alright, this exchanging bishops without smashing up my pawn structure seems like the cleanest path forward. Of course I missed this shot. Of course. Whatever. Let's put the knight on a nice square. Yeah, so I should have just allowed my pawns to get smashed, and it would have been okay. This is trickier. I'm not going to give up the d file so easily here. Well, there's knight b3 the whole time, probably. Maybe I do that next. Yeah, they see it too. Alright, so if you play f4, I'll support the knight with my c-pawn instead. This looks peaceful enough. Okay. Can I win up a bishop in a simple endgame? I think so. Time will tell. Let's find out. This looks favorable to me. They can't break the pin. I mean, if they do, it costs them an exchange. And I'm not giving up the f-pawn. Everything's defended minus this b-pawn, but there's no way for the opponent to hit that in one move. Alright, so yeah, this exchange occurs. More material hangs. And we enter an endgame. I think I can win this. I think I have good chances here. Oh, I forgot. En passant's the only thing that breaks a stalemate there. Alright. Well, that was needlessly flashy. Still haven't broken the top 1,000 yet. Oh, no, I just did. Yay me. Oh, is that really how we're going to go out? We've got time for one more. We have maybe a chance to get paired way the heck up against somebody that can really kick my butt. So that would be memorable. I mean, yeah, it'd be nice to go out on such a high note, but that was too simple. All right, let's play e4 once more. Our opponent is in position 888. Should be lucky. Okay. Do I know this opening? Not really, but it looks fun. This is my method of playing openings. Is if I'm going to be out of book, we're both going to be out of book. And it'll be a fun adventure. And maybe I'll learn something, but probably not. It dawns on me Queen A5 is kind of a big threat here. I'm losing a pawn, maybe two pawns, but I should have an initiative. Alright, Queen A5's not happening, so let's do this. I confused my opponent. Yay me. The idea of playing an extra game was that I was supposed to get paired way the heck up. That didn't happen. Or maybe it happened and I'm just really slow to catch on here. Maybe this is part of some master plan, but I'm not so convinced. Alright, so I developed my knight. I've taken the d5 square, so black can't play d5. And the Sicilian, if you can't play e5, and if you can't play d5, things tend to hurt. I know because I've tried playing the Sicilian, and pretty quickly learned that if I can't take any of the center, it's kind of difficult to do anything. Okay, this makes sense. All right. So they split up my center. I'm still preventing d5 and likewise preventing e5. But they did damage my center. Knight h4 loses the knight. Let's not do that. I could play knight g5. What do they do? Man. Is knight g5 winning? It's not quite enough. Let's bring out the bishop. The lack of an f-pawn might make it difficult for the opponent to build a solid castle. I could play bishop g5. Nah, it's not worth it. Alright, let's just castle. So if I can scare everything except this bishop away from the king's side, then we're going to have some fun. I think knight e7 is reasonable. Other moves like knight b4, knight wherever here don't look so safe. Okay, I'll move my bishop to safety. Now I could play a lot of fun things here. I guess queen e2, or yeah, defending the c-pawn might be sensible. If they play bishop b7, maybe still queen e2 instead of taking. Yeah, or I was thinking a knight c3. Wait, I don't have knight d6 check with... Well, yeah, knight d6 doesn't win. So I'm on the verge of losing my e-pawn. But it's still standing. If they attack it, I can bring the bishop to shore it up. It'd be nice to land my knight on d6, but I don't know I could get it there. I'm not certain that I can land it there. Also, no, I don't have an extra move there. Okay, this bishop's not going to help me ever. So we'll exchange it off. So the d6 square is the target. c5, my bishop and knight might target instead. Still have bishop g5 here, which lets me play rook a d1, getting off the diagonal. Or escaping the diagonal, rather. I'm not so sure if knight c6. Oh, I still have enough pieces supporting this. It's not done so just yet. Knight c6 does protect the beast, does shield the knight. So if a bishop g5, rook takes f3. Oh, I take the queen. Never mind. But if rook takes, if I were to take back with the queen, I couldn't get this knight. But if rook takes f3, of course I take the queen instead. See, a bishop g5 is still possible. Opponent probably plays queen c7 if I do that. But they play queen c7 here voluntarily, which means I could play knight b5 if I want to. My knight's not going anywhere else. Let's do it. Why not? And then get to kick this back to the edge of the board. I might have bishop b2 here. Wasn't expecting that. It looks okay. Okay, so this knight's not hanging, so I don't need to do anything rash. d7 is loose. Knight, knight, rook, queen. It's fine. Now let's go. This knight on c7's contained. At some point I'll get to play knight g5 and try to attack the king's side. Maybe. I might not get that chance. I thought I would. Wait, I can't take that. It's not hanging. Now it's hanging. And this knight can't defend it. Yeah, knight g5 and queen over here would be amazing, but I don't think I can arrange that. But I might be able to get the knight to e4. There might be more tactics to follow somewhere. So this hangs my c-pawn if I do take. Well, I kind of have to take now if they play knight e8. But no, the e-pawn hangs too. It's okay. My back rank is covered multiple times. They might play rook b3. They do. Do I have mate? No. Maybe. Not quite. Um, This is okay. Oh. Um, this is better than okay. Thanks for game. Oh boy. International Master got here earlier and then paused. But they did it in fewer games, as did a Candidate Master and a National Master. But yeah. Um, I keep saying one more, but I keep getting pared down. Just strange. I also keep getting the white pieces. This is... I don't know how this happens. It is random. It's not Swiss or Dutch or what have you. Oh, come on. Uh, we're going to play the gambit if we can. If bishop takes, then pawn d5, and off we go. Yeah, this, I think, loses on the spot. Um, how do I win this again? It's not pawn d5, is it? I've played d5 here before. Um, yeah, this looks okay. This is how I used to play it. I feel like I'm missing something, though. White has the center. This is an enormous advantage. I've played both sides of this position many times. Um, but there's got to be something more than this. Let's bring out this bishop. Maybe this is the move I've been missing for so many years. I used to just play pawn d6 here. And it was kind of fun, but yeah, dominating the center and the opponent not having a knight covering their king. These are a couple factors that work well together for me. Sure, the opponent can play g6, but this opens a hole near their king that there's no way to repair. And if they don't play g6, I have ways to amplify the pressure on this side of the board. That's not g6. Okay, I'll put my bishop on this open diagonal. Oh, I thought I mistook that this square was open. It's not. Regardless, if they play g6 now, I just collect a pawn. See, f5 happens instead. F5 lets me attack the e6 square. I'm also threatening to win the pawn. And if pawn f4, I just check. And surely the king getting swept out in the middle of the board gets mated somehow. Maybe not. So I can take the f-pawn for free. No, my queen... It's an order of operations question there. It's not free. Counting pieces by piece count, it works out that I'd be able to take the f-pawn. But knight takes, bishop takes, etc. Like, I'm giving material there. Knight e6 looks fine here. The king's caught up in this mess. Yeah, this is just a very difficult position to defend as black. I don't envy my opponent's position. And since like most of white's moves in this opening are quite forcing, this is why I studied it so heavily. Um, it's difficult for black to deviate. I was hoping to understand this either as black to be able to refute it, or as white to take full advantage of this circumstance. Alright, we're going to play f4 so I don't accidentally mate myself here. But also taking the e5 square back. I'm still down a pawn. I'm not even up on the clock either. Might have to retract everything I said about my opponent's play. I can't believe they forgot this. That's a shame. I was looking forward to a very long, intense game, but the minute my opponent got a position that looked okay, this happened. That's sad. I mean, such is blitz chess. Mistakes happen all the time in blitz chess. And mistakes tend to happen, like, as the clock runs down. I appreciate in shogi how we get more and more time to think with each move. I would like to see other games adopt a Byoyomi time control, as is done with shogi, and almost always go. I think there could be great learning. Okay, bishop h4, bishop takes, rook takes. Yeah, it loses a piece. Oh, hang on, that's a fork. That's a second piece. We'll take it. Now the bishop's hanging. If the bishop moves, the rook is hanging, etc. Tough break for the opponent here. Alright, take one of those. And one of those. That was fun. Thanks for the game. Well, I'm on a 6-game winning streak. Maybe many players have just dropped out. If they're from Europe and they're suffering from fatigue at this point, I could understand withdrawing. I was hoping for a really strong pairing, and maybe I'm just playing exceptionally well today, but I don't think that's the case. Also, I've finally got a 2200 rating. Would you look at that? Okay. We'll play this again. This is what I tend to play in Blitz. I'm always somewhat apprehensive about playing it because I'm not sure that this is really sound. Bishop e7 first. Otherwise there's knight g5. But they didn't play that. Oh, okay. So I lived. still alive for this second. Wait, aren't they going to follow with a4? Why not? I need to castle. Trying to save my pawns is not my top priority here. It is a priority, but saving my king is the top priority here. And now there's tactics everywhere. But yeah, I'm feeling like I'm fighting this game, so we can honorably call this my last game. And with that, I've probably jinxed the result, but oh well. What can you do? If knight, bishop, bishop takes... No, that's fine. I think I'm not hanging anything. I think I'm also threatening the d-pawn. So if I take here, they don't have a way to support their d-pawn. They push it. I can take... No, I lose my knight if I take. So let's go back. So I've got pressure on the d-file. Yay me. Okay. Back we go. That's better than pressure now. This is just a clean pawn, no? With the bishop out here, there were tactics to worry about, but here I think I just take. And yeah, it's okay. I've removed my center pawn weakness. Bishop takes would win material. Is it worth doing? I don't like it. I'm just going to play the cowardly knight takes here. And then another cowardly move. And not win a pawn, but not lose anything big either. So this d-pawn is forever a liability. Or at least until I make some immense blunder and let them exchange off all the pawns or something. I don't want to move this prematurely. Oh, I can make a threat, though, by moving my queen. Now I am threatening to take this b-pawn. I could take it. They can fork my pieces if I take it. Chess is so exciting. Yep, they're fighting here. Fine. I guess I don't have a choice but to allow them to fork my queen and bishop. In a blitz game, having the knight instead of having the bishop can often be advantageous, because knights are trickier to predict where they're going to go next. So we'll just let that happen. I guess my opponent could also play pawn b5 and threatens bishop a3, but they don't do that. It was possible, but it did not happen. We could also play knight c5 here. I don't know that it does much. Maybe it does, and I'm just blind. Um, yeah, so if queen c7, like if rooks get yeah, okay, this is fine. Did I play bishop e7? No, no. So I said if all the pawns get exchanged, that's no good for me. Now bishop e7 I think is forced. No, not quite. There's tactics here. There's always tactics when we're playing chess. Um, all right, here we go. Actually, if bishop a3, I just play b4. That's not so difficult. Difficulty is what to do here. This was my first instinct, and it still looks good. I pin the b pawn. I'm threatening the d pawn, indirectly threatening the f pawn. I expect knight takes bishop now. Despite knight takes bishop agreeing to an endgame that I'm somewhat better in. Maybe rook takes a1 would have been better. Because if knight takes bishop, knight takes knight, rook takes, then rook e3, I kind of have to play rook f8. Which I was not looking forward to playing here. On the other side, on the flip side of that, having no, I could, if they play rook e7, I have knight d5. This cuts the diagonal so the queen's not hitting this pawn anymore. So yeah, bishop a3 at some point might be a thing. Maybe even here. Then I play rook e8. And the opponent still can't take my pawn. I'm still attacking both of their pawns and threatening to blockade the d pawn. Yep, so take open files. Rook takes rook is possible. Bishop c5 is possible. Yep. I think this is fine. Wait, does this tactically not work out? I thought I had this under control here. Rook takes pawn is not feasible. As such, I get the outside pawn, and I can play knight d5, and it's a perfect blockade. Materials even. Yeah, okay, this is fine. This opening advantage is converting all the way through the game. The bishop can't stop my pawn. The rook is going to have a hard time stopping it. Might be too late for the rook already. Who doesn't enjoy a good endgame now and then? Back we go. Like, what's our opponent to do here? How do they stop the pawn? A bishop pair is a powerful thing. A bishop against a knight in an open position often prevails, but if the bishop's blockaded by the pawn, that cuts its effectiveness. It's serious. Looks like I'm popular in our chat room. Who'd have guessed? Okay, so I take one of those. Alright, so I threaten the f-pawn. The bishop can also move, as I'm threatening it too. Alright, so I'll take this pawn. Do I go back at this point? No, because I want the pawn. And if I want to collect the pawn, the easiest way to collect it is right here. Okay. I think I've got some good chances to win this. You can have the rook, that's fine. I think I know how to win this one. I could try to boost my Rosen score. That'd be a bit unsporting. Arguably, this war of attrition might have not been the cleanest path to victory. Or might not have been the fastest path to victory, rather. Since we're playing with an increment. Alright, somehow I won that on time. Don't ask how. Good luck. I keep saying one more, one more, one more. But I don't know. At some point I do have to go about my day as well. I'm sure you do too. Wait a second. Would you like to have a pawn? I guess not. Okay. I'd like a pawn. I'm not complaining. I don't want to mess this up. Alright, we'll stop knight f6 from happening. Oh, actually, if the knight can't go to f6, and if the knight can't go to h6, the knight probably can't go too far. If the knight can't go too far, then I could just win the rook. Yeah, so this liberates the knight. Let's just use the pieces. A novel concept. I can't castle here, unfortunately. This looks fun. This looks more fun for me than for my opponent. So if the knight moves, I take the queen. Alright. I think we go out on that note. It's not going to get any better than that. Thanks to everybody for watching, and enjoy your social chess day while it lasts. See you next time.